My name is Nidhi Pujari and my topic is the urban commons. The presentation is divided in 4 parts. The argument has the argument in brief, the site study also has the programs and site analysis, the design and the technology which has the details, and the service systems. From enclosures to commons. The concern in recent times is that there is a loss of urban commons due to privatizations, enclosures, spatial controls, etc. These only cater to a certain class of people who are privileged, and hence arises the idea of commons. So what are the commons? Communities have various relationships with the spaces around them. They tend to appropriate a given space. This taking over of space or laying claim to a space is commoning. These shared spaces act as resources to all. They are managed by the people themselves. There are 3 aspects to the commons. They have a non-commodified common pool of resources which fulfills people's needs. The commons are necessarily created and sustained by the communities, and to common is a verb that is a social process that creates and reproduces the commons. The important thing to note is that the communities define the management of these resources and how they are accessed and maintained. The threats to the commons. Why are the commons at risk? Because cities in India are trying to reinvent themselves as utopias for investors and consumers. New enclosures are directed towards fragmentation and destruction of the commons, and hence there is a need of defending space. There are various ways in which the commons are interpreted, but here in this project, commoning is mainly looked over as a mode of resistance to commodifying. The last part talks about the right to the city or city as a co-created space. A potentially liberating space can be seen as a network of spaces belonging to nobody and everybody at the same time, which are not defined by a fixed power geometry but are open to the constant process of redefinition. The ideas of commoning in Mumbai. In a more traditional sense, the commons are these shared natural resources like tabelas, fisheries, forests, mangroves, etc. People access these resources that are not commodities and are not strictly classified as property. These are government lands that are used for livelihood dependencies. For example, the commons for fish workers constitute not just the sea and the water bodies but also several areas along the coast used as landing grounds or weaving or repairing, etc. These livelihoods are permanent or seasonal sources of income for a range of native people. The people have turned these private or government lands into common pool resources. But in today's urban context, it can be interpreted in several different ways. Certain ways in which the people use the streets, the maidans, parks, the vacant lots, or the residual areas in the city can also be termed as commoning. These kind of commons are going to be explored in the project further. I visited several sites in Mumbai such as Ambujwadi, Bhimchaya and Mandala. Here, auto-constructed settlements seem to grow out of an awareness that commoning is necessary and helpful. Land occupations make people confront from the beginning the problem of building a family shelter with the necessary help of others and emerging community. Some auto-constructed facilities are created, either water tanks or rubbish collection points or social spaces. The arrangement and maintenance of the streets in this settlement is also indicative of practices of commoning. The street is not a necessary residual space but a space which is formed through collective decisions and collective work. Ambujwadi, a settlement which is in Malwani, has been demolished multiple times. But there is some sort of collective resistance seen over here, trying to reclaim the land for their own sustenance. What the project is taking with the case study of Ambujwadi is that it's trying to understand the existing commons on the site, look at it through the perspective of collective claims made by the community, and try to rebuild those commons in order so that it can be used as a shared asset of the community. And that is the aim of the thesis. It's an attempt to rebuild the urban common as an equitable and accessible resource to all. It's also addressing architecturally the creation of these commons and how design can contribute to it and how it can empower the community and reproduce their life in new ways. The site context. So Ambujwadi is present here in the bottom of Malwani in Malad. It's about 7.5 km from the nearest railway station, and there are a number of bus stops present over in Malwani to reach. There are, in terms of the educational institutions, there are a number of colleges or schools that are there in Malwani but none in Ambujwadi. There are some MADA and LIG buildings over here, but Ambujwadi is a completely informal settlement, and there are some open grounds and municipal markets in Malwani, but none in Ambujwadi. According to the DP 2034, the people will be rehabilitated in this rectangular plot present over here, and this part of the site also comes in the CR2Z zone. The ideas of commoning that are present inside Malwani, whether it is the streets may be either common for domestic purposes or as play areas or for social activities, or there are also major markets and businesses which are run by the locals. The social spaces, the community activities usually take place in shaded areas or temples or mitra mandals, which are either self-constructed or sponsored by the local political parties. The activists usually meet in these areas to fight against unjust policies, or it's also used to organize informative skits in and around Ambujwadi. The livelihood spaces. I was looking into different forms of labor, whether secondary or tertiary. Garment factories have proliferated throughout the slum, making children's clothes or women's dresses for the market. There are other informal activities where women usually engage in domestic manufacturing of pins, earrings, etc. Men usually work in the cement mixing or other construction related workshops. There are smaller economies like shoemaking or wood processing units. The learning spaces. Schools are about 2 kilometers away in Malwani. This area is devoid of any kind of education facilities, hence few people have taken the responsibilities on themselves to teach children. Tuition classes are most visible form of educational spaces which happen in the house itself, or there are also some others. These spaces for learning are present within houses of people, or they are small auto-constructed or abandoned homes due to lack of resources. There is also the youth group Yuva that has a central learning space. Living spaces, so I've just looked into the materials that they have used and what kind of pakka or kacha houses they have built. So the programs for active groups or initiatives that are present within, that is fighting for the rights to education, jobs and housing, and for the untrained and unemployed people who could acquire skill and work experience. So the possibilities were technical aid, participatory and cultural, where technical aid provides employment through garment manufacturing or cooperatively owned local products market, or some use of underutilized space. Participatory could be a community development center with community organizers as an advisory agency, and cultural, where theatre is seen as a means of promoting social and political change, and hence theatre, films or stage area for debates could be present. So the programs were divided further into community, livelihood and educational, and the community block has the assembly stage, the development planning center, the seminar area, the cooperatively owned market, the accounts and information desk. The livelihood has a furniture and equipment room, the open classroom and the skill training, and educational has the open classroom, study area and the computer room. So these were the final programs that I was fixing. So this is the site, and the site of intervention that I have chosen is over here. The sections are cut through the edges of the site. The site of intervention is this empty plot of land which is there, and the edges have these water bodies which are right now polluted because the sewage is flowing into them, but I have looked into it in the services part, and there's a site analysis done of the land use, the mobility, the building heights, the site services and the climate. So here I've looked into what could be done for the general upgradation of the conditions. The road widths for the primary, secondary and the tertiary roads were quite narrow. So I was looking into how the main roads could be concretized for the bus movements, and there could be some sort of swale and footpath created. The swale, because the swale would lead to the polishing ponds that I've created in the end, but there were some waterlogging problems that could be solved through that. Here I sketched out some planning strategies that could have been used to provide cheaper mobility options, having community and institutional programs at intersections, and also how to increase the neighborhood level of commerce. So this basically talks about some work centers that could be present at the intersections. It might be built above the already existing houses to provide employment for the people that are living in and around this area. Also extending the existing market from the center to the ends to improve the commerce in these areas too. These propositions were like a sort of an incremental improvement of the conditions by providing basic amenities first, and over time allowing the upgradation of the settlements. And these links that are created from the ends of the site are to make the site more make the site of the intervention more accessible even to the people that are living on the edges. Here the sewage is actually flowing into the water bodies at the end, so constructive landscaping and the use of these dewatch system and plant beds can be used for the disposal of the grey and black water before it enters into the water body. These were just general ideas that could improve based on the community's desire to improve the conditions of the space. The concept on the organization: the building sits on the edge of the site, since the area on the back it has the natural sink and it has been polluted with wastewater over time. So part of the project is also to convert that wetland into the polishing pond and a functionally active environment cleanser. So these are the links that I had spoken about earlier that cuts through this mass of the building, and it makes this initially unused area behind active. The idea was to have a central street that runs through the structure and makes the entire ground floor accessible to the public. The commons pertain to having a collective infrastructure where movement is possible on a daily basis. So this street acts as a connector and ensures the encounter of communities. It increases the porosity in the structure, which increases visibility and participation. Courtyards, semi-open spaces and transitional spaces are created by inserting or wedging out masses. These spaces have ambiguous edges where one connects to another. The sloping roofs collect rainwater, which is reused, and it also has large overhangs over the central streets to provide shade for the movement. So here isn't the organization. So the part of the site that is closer to the main street is more active, noisy and lively, whereas the part that is further away, the activity level reduces and it is quieter. So the maximum interaction and activity area consists of the commercial block with the market. The community areas include the development and planning cell, the seminar area and other community related functions which are visible from the street, and it is inviting participation. The further quieter end has the educational block with the open libraries and the study area and the computer areas. So there is a main axis that is running from the building, and then there are numerous smaller perpendicular axes that is running through them. So this is the site of intervention in Ambujwadi. The same in the models. These are the process models that I made, which were basically to experiment with what way the building can respond to the central street. It was also looking at the creation of multiple courtyards at the central area. So this is a ground floor plan. The market over here is not enclosed within walls, but it is kept completely open to the street. There are extensions to the market which lead into the building over here. There are also extensions which are laid on the footpath directly adjoining the street. The market area alongside with this amphitheater area or the gathering space and the main street over here can accommodate a range of self-organized activities, whether it is seminars, debates, demonstrations, plays, or just socializing or eating. This space presents an idea of equality, centricity and informality. The information desk gives information about the latest programs that are taking place in the educational and the vocational blocks. The Development Planning Center and the NGO offices ensure the engagement of the community with the voluntary architects or social workers, which might lead to collaborative and participatory design. The vocational training workshops alongside with the lecture rooms and the open classrooms are helping in revitalizing the small-scale community businesses by training people in skill. The design is created with minimum enclosures. There are certain private rooms that are created, but that is for the protection of the equipment. Otherwise, the common areas are having a direct entry from the settlement. This playground is acting as a buffer space between the two blocks. Since the programs here are more quieter, It can also host several events and it becomes like an active central public space. Since open spaces are very scarce in Ambujwadi, as much of it is given in the design, plenty of social spaces are created for material value of the community. The kitchen and the dining area has the midday meal program that can be funded by organizations or the local municipal corporation or the government. The dining area over here is left completely open to the street, so it has a government canteen, but it can also have local dhabas which are present over here adjoining the street. The library, the study area and the open classrooms and the computer room is a space of community learning where students can use these resources that are present and people are free to access them. There is a vegetable garden that is attached to the kitchen, but it also depends upon the amount of water that is saved in the here. The DWAT systems are present in the end, so the sewage flows from the service points which is present over here and here, and it flows through the septic tanks and the aerobic buffer reactors to the polishing ponds. Parts of the ground floor will be discussed in a later part. The first floor plan. So the vocational training workshops and the lecture rooms, the libraries and the study area extend up to the upper floor. There are bridges that are connecting these two wings of the building, and there is plenty of common area in between. The use of this common area is not defined as such, but it is having these simple sets of modular furniture that can be used in multiple forms, broadening the range of activities. These bridges also create overlooking spaces which further increases visibility. Commoning through design. I had done a case study of an educational center which was built in M Ward by Tata and with the help of the local municipal corporation. So the model, I was looking at the model that they followed, where the municipal corporation, the people that are living in the settlement, the NGOs and the organizations come together for the planning and design and the funding of the project and how it gets constructed. So the model was basically built on the case study of the Educational Institute in the M Ward. Design helps in what way people take care of the space. The street that is forming in between is not necessarily a residual space, but it's a kind of space with a new meaning that can be termed as a common, in order to distinguish it from public and private space. People simply do not use the space given to them by a public institution, but they mold it according to their collective needs. The design could have spaces and resources that could be accessed freely. The space didn't have fixed meanings but was open to the process of constant redefinition. So these access points from the settlement or plenty of socializing space and the common areas that are present contribute to the idea of commoning. The sections, this is a section to the library and the study area. It's directly connected to the main road. The building also has these large overhangs to give shade to the central area, and it's mostly like an extension to the inner function. This is a section through the kitchen and the dining hall, again with a lot of common area over here given to as a dining area for the canteen. So the space adjoining the street is more like a transitional space which is not creating any alienation of the building from the street. There are also pathways on the back side of the building next to the polishing ponds. This is the section through the lecture room and the open classrooms, and this is a section through the training centers. So this is a view of the entry of the vocational training center which is present over here. The entry to the NGO office which is over here, the pathway between the NGO and the vocational training center which is this pathway, and the workshop spaces and the central seating area which is this huge common area over here. This is the educational block and the views that are within it, the open seating area and the kitchen and the dining hall. This is the community and the livelihood block and the common areas outside the lecture rooms. So even if the room is occupied, the outside area can always be used. This also has lesser partition walls which has more visibility and more participation. This is the educational block and the playground which is between the two blocks, and the common area which is outside the lecture rooms. This is again more views of the common area, the vocational training center, the outside, the space on the backside, and the common classrooms. The ground floor structures, bamboo is a primary material. It's used with certain materials like the bamboo corrugated sheet or wooden planks, but majorly bamboo with the help of studs and pins is the primary material. This is the detail of the community block. The building material of the community block, which is a perforated clay block, which is used mostly in low cost construction. It reduces the amount of concrete that is used because concrete can also be poured inside this with a reinforcement bar. This is the ground plus one structures. Here the vertical bamboo members are fixed to the rafters with the help of these stud hooks. There are also these stainless steel straps which are used as fasteners. It is attached to this concrete beam with the help of a pin joint. This is the axle of the G+1 structure. This is the construction of the market area, which has a triple bamboo ridge which is fitted with headless screws and nuts. It is attached to the circular plate which is welded to metallic circles, which is fixed to the column. The detail of the joint is also given over here. The water supply calculations. The water supply. DWAT system calculations. The DWAT system along with the section. The rainwater harvesting